You know, I absolutely used to love the Olympics. It was something I looked forward to every 2 years, the winter, summer, it didn't matter. I was the guy who made a spreadsheet of all the events I wanted to watch. And to me, there was something great about every bit of it, whether it is somebody reaching the top of their efforts for the last 4 years. Didn't matter how obscure of a sport it was. I actually kind of loved the obscure sports. I also loved finding out these stories of people who I would have never, ever thought about. Who knew that we would cheer for a Turkish shooter or a Pakistani javelin thrower? And I even went to the Paris Games, and that was such a great experience because there's rivalry. There's some dislike of other countries, but it's in good sportsmanship. Everyone there was there to celebrate human excellence on a global scale. It was awesome. But now, I wasn't quite ready for the Winter Games. I didn't know if I really wanted to watch because there was a part of me that was a little ashamed of what was going on in our country. There wasn't a lot of nationalistic pride that didn't carry weight, but my faith in our team and Team USA and athletes around the globe was restored in the opening days of the Olympics. And I want to start by talking about what happened in the opening ceremonies. You may not have heard it though, because NBC has apparently turned down the volume on the loud boos that JD Vance and his wife Usha were met with when they were shown on the large screen in the stadium.
In an individual sport, what an honor for her.
There is the Vice President JD Vance and his wife Usha. Ooh, those are a lot of boos for him. Whistling, jeering, some applause. Not a long shot of him.
And to be clear, it was very obvious that when the American athletes came out of the tunnel, they were cheered. They were met with applause. But when JD Vance showed up on that screen, there were boos, there were whistles, and for Americans who don't know, whistling overseas, that's like booing. The commentators even had to comment on, oh, that's a lot of boos for JD Vance. But again, NBC chose to air footage of this incident with the boos for JD Vance with the audio edited. Why? Because just like any other legacy media in this country right now, NBC is afraid. They're afraid of the Trump administration. They're afraid of the FCC. They're afraid of making the wrong people angry. That's not what freedom of the press is all about. That is the government having their thumb on corporate and legacy media. But the boos for JD Vance weren't the only thing that restored my faith in Olympic humanity. We saw a British skier post one of the best photos I have seen in a long, long time. And his name is Gus Kenworthy. And he posted, a little disgusting, a photo of yellow snow with the words F ice traced into the snow with his urine. He then posted eloquently about what he is seeing across the pond in our country, saying innocent people have been murdered and enough is enough. We can't wait around while ICE continues to operate with unchecked power in our communities. Absolutely stunning words from a British skier. Absolutely love that. We also have seen our first out female figure skater, and she is influencing people all over the games. Amber Glenn is not staying silent about her sexuality or her political stance. One of the best things that I saw in Paris was pin trading. You would go around and you would trade pins with people from different countries. You would trade pins that you'd have some guy set up on the side of the road with some of the rare and cool pins that he collected. It was so cool. It was a great way to connect with other people from other countries. I specifically remember going into one of the houses. We went to the Kenya house and we traded pins there. That was such a cool moment. And the athletes trade pins. They have their own, famously, Simone Biles had her GOAT pin that she was trading. But Amber Glenn, she's trading pins that represent the LGBTQ community. She's not staying silent. And she has been out saying, I know that a lot of people say that you're just an athlete. Like, stick to your job. Shut up about politics. But politics affects us all. It is something that I will not just be quiet about because it is something that affects us in our everyday lives. So of course, there are things that I disagree with, but as a community, we are strong and we support each other and brighter days are ahead of us. And I love that because it is the Olympic spirit. The Olympic spirit is about the best of humanity. It is about people achieving what we didn't think was possible. And I know that right now, looking at our country, it's hard to see a way out. It's hard to imagine a future without the thumbprint of Donald Trump over our everyday lives. But when I see young athletes like Amber Glenn stepping up and speaking out about her life and about how this administration has made her life different and more difficult, it is absolutely inspiring. And then we heard from some guys that maybe aren't the most eloquent speakers, but to me, they spoke loudest of all. And there were a couple of freestyle skiers, Chris Lillis and Hunter Hess. And in a press conference, they were asked about how it feels to represent our country while there's so much turmoil going on back home.
I feel heartbroken about what's happened in the United States when, I'm pretty sure you're referencing ICE and some of the protests and things like that. I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me.
Hunter saying it brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. And just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. And when I talk to my friends and people that I meet from overseas, that's the first thing I want them to know, that this does not represent who we are as Americans. Please do not conflate me and my opinions and the way that America should be with the orange turd's opinions and the things that he says should be an American ideal. That is not who we are. And so I am absolutely proud of people like Hunter Hess speaking out and telling people this isn't the America that we know and love. It's not the America that we stand up for. Fellow freestyle skier Chris Lillis also speaking out against ICE, saying that he feels heartbroken about what's happening in the U.S. And he won a gold medal in Beijing, so this is not some backup skier. This is a major skier on the Olympic stage. And he went on to say, I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everyone's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as everyone with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes competing in the Olympics, they realize that that is the America we're trying to represent. And that is the key here. What America are we representing? What America are we putting out to the masses? And I hope that it's more of the America like Chris Lillis and Hunter Hess and Amber Glenn are putting forth, and a lot less JD Vance. Because the more I see of JD Vance and our orange turd in charge, the more I am going to boo. Doesn't it seem like our feeds are getting filled with more and more BS right-wing MAGA content? It's no secret that all these top tech bros are in love with the current regime, so it's no surprise that independent left-leaning media is being squashed by the algorithm. If you like our content and content like us, it doesn't take long to click that thumbs up, share, comment, or subscribe. So please help us keep the truth alive.